I welcome you all. And again, this is our series of discussions or talks, if we can say sessions. And today the theme is surrender. And many of us, I'm sure, have heard of this name called surrender. We wonder what is surrender. And Hindi में कहते हैं समर्पण. Many sant and gyanis have talked about it, surrender. But how to kind of use this aspect of surrender in practical life? How to know that yes, it is the right way to surrender? Because we can get lost in the concepts about surrender, and we may think that yes, I am living a surrendered life, and that can be a very very big blunder, because that would be just living in our own concepts of surrender and not actually surrendering ourselves to the divine or to the grace. And some of you were also talking about how to have a flow in life, that sometimes we need a flow in life and we feel that there is stagnation in life. So how to have that flow, that creative kind of a moving flow in life, which is the very name of life. So life is a flow, and I think we'll be able to touch that aspect today as well, because when there is surrender, there is automatically a flow. It's a kind of surrender is equivalent to a flow in life. It cannot be that you are living a surrendered life and there is no flow in the life. So a dynamic flow, a dynamic life is equivalent to a surrendered life. So the things that I'm using is, so I'll be using a lot of material from Sri Aurobindo and the mother, because they have shown us a kind of a path which is very very minutely described in their words and experiences. And all these experiences they have gone through in their life by themselves. As a human birth, by taking a human birth, they themselves have gone through the human conflicts, human miseries. And they have shown us that yes, it is possible to have a surrendered life when you are a human being, and I think that's the only purpose. If we are not living a surrendered life, we have not yet come even close to being human. So I'll be using those words, and I'll be also using a few beautiful dohas from Kabir Das ji on Samarpan, on Sumiran, and on surrender. So just let me begin with this little kind of a sonnet from Sri Aurobindo. We will not be discussing it, we will just be reading it and having the essence of it. O thou, of whom I am the instrument, O secret spirit and nature housed in me, let all my mortal being now be blent in thy still glory of divinity. I have given my mind to be dug thy channel mind. I have offered up my will to be thy will. Let nothing of myself be left behind. In our union, mystic and unutterable, my heart shall throb with the world beats of thy love. My body become thy engine for earth use. My nerves and veins thy rapture's streams shall move. My thoughts shall be hounds of light for thy power to lose. Keep only my soul to adore eternally and meet thee in each form and soul of thee. So this is written by Sri Aurobindo and can be found online. I'll be giving also this a little compilation to you after we are done with the call. So what is this thing called surrender, and why should we talk about it? So the way we usually live is that there is a separate self. There is a very distinctly separate self that I call as me. That I call as my ego. And somehow through life, I feel that if I am kind of having this idea, then my life should move according to that idea that I have in mind, and that becomes the reason for conflict. So universe has its own rhythm, and now this I, like a stone comes in between that rhythm, and it says, no, 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 my will should be done. No, 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 my will should be done. And the universe has its own plan. The universe is a big flow, and human beings are nothing but the part of that flow, just like other creatures, like just like another stone, just like a plant, just like a flower. But human beings become like a stone in that kind of a, a flow of a kind of a dynamic flow of the universe, and that becomes the reason for conflict. And that is why we talk of surrender, because now this ego, stone like ego, that has become an obstacle in that flow, what it is doing is, it is not collaborating with the flow. It is saying that I know what should be done, and according to me only the flow should go. But you have no idea the flow is so humongous, and you are just a tiny part in between. So the flow cannot go according to you. You have to move according to the flow. So we can be sure that whenever we are having any conflict in life, any kind of a challenge or difficulty, somewhere we are sticking to some or the other belief in my life, that my life should move according to this idea, this belief, this happening. I should have this person in my life. I should have, this kind of job in my life. So all these ideas are part of that ego, or the stone that kind of, comes and becomes an obstacle in that flow. The thing is that flow is going on. The flow is not stopping because of the stone. The poor stone is not able to join the flow. That is the whole misery. The misery is that the poor stone doesn't know that if it gets dissolved, then it can become that flow that it is seeking. Aren't we all seeking a flow in life? Aren't we all seeking a rhythm in life? So, okay. So that rhythm is already available. What we have to do is we have to dissolve in that rhythm, and that is why surrender. That is why we seek to surrender, because we know somewhere that something is getting stuck. We have that feeling in life. So I will read a very little beautiful excerpt from a talk by Dr. Anand Reddy, where he says, the false truth in which we live is created by the ego sense. I am the center around which everything moves. As if I am the sun in the planetary system, and around me only everything should move. The I sense is so dominant that it blinds our vision, and we begin to think that everybody lives around us and lives for us. Now, this is the quality of this I sense. So I feel that the happenings in life should be according to me. What I feel is right. And this I feel is right is different for everybody. So what one of you may feel right in your life may be true for you, your ego. My ego would say, no, no, I feel this is right. So, there are kind of variety of stones in that flow. Then further, the greatest fallacy is that we extend this judgment even to God and say that God also moves around me. That is why we normally complain when we have some kind of tragedy or illness. We say, hey, what is God doing? He's not behaving right. He must be a cruel God if he is doing this to me. So the ego sense has become like a center of the universe. It feels that it is so important that God should be just looking after my ideas, my beliefs of how my life should be running. This is the ego sense. The ego sense has such an incredible audacity that it reserves the right even to judge God himself. So what is needed is for the practical truth of the ego to be integrated with the higher truth, which is the flow that we were talking about. There is a universal flow of life force, and the now ego sense has to become dissolved in that flow. And when I say dissolved, it's not meaning that you will lose your identity, because each one of us is very, very unique and special. Each one of us has a very different permutation and combination of skill sets and talents inherently when we are born as a child. So there is something called a psychic personality. You can say that it's a very thin curtain a very, very thin curtain which will let all the light of the sun pass through into the room. But what we do is, instead of very thin curtain, we have a block of bricks that we become when the ego sense is very, very solid. So this ego sense will gradually, what it will do is, it will kind of purify itself, sanctify itself towards surrender, so that that curtain becomes really kind of, transparent. So it has its own quality, that curtain. Each and every human being has their own quality. So when I say that the ego will be dissolving in the flow, universal flow of life, it is not to say that you will be completely gone. In one sense, maybe the older you that you think that I am, yes, that will be gone. But a new you will emerge, which will be now collaborating with that flow of the Ganges or the flow of life. That is how it is. Yes. So ego is the false self, and the real self is the true soul within, who is the ruler, who is the center. Now, this true soul within, I have talked in previous talks about this true soul. Those of us who are joining for the first time, they can, have a look at those previous talks. So when you move deeply, horizontally into the depths of your heart, there you find this true soul or true light that we are, which is in direct connection with that universal flow which we have been talking of. So the soul knows how to collaborate in that universal flow, how uniquely to collaborate in that universal flow. The soul has completely perfect idea. Okay. And the ego, because it is confused, it's a separate identity in itself, it doesn't know. And that is why more confusion in life means more is the ego working. So one can be really sure that more the confusion, more the doubt, it means I'm operating from the ego mode, ego self. Yeah. So further, I'll pick up a few lines from Sri Aurobindo's collected works and Mother's collected works, where they talk what is surrender. So I'll be using the word divine a lot in my conversations. And for those of us who are from a left kind of a background, in the sense more scientific background, and maybe are not in touch with this word called divine, they can imagine it to be truth, Satya, Satyam Shivan Sundaram. So the truth, the basic truth of life, the peace, the joy, the flow of life, you can also call it the divine. But here, when I call divine, I am mostly, I'll be mostly referring to the Mother and Sri Aurobindo, and also the supreme, that is the creator of all that is in this manifestation. So it doesn't matter which words we use. Further, Sri Aurobindo says, the divine gives itself to those who give themselves without reserve, and in all parts, in all their parts, to the divine. So if I am able to completely offer myself to the divine, only then will the divine reveal itself to me, not before that. So I cannot say that I keep on holding to a old identity, my old lifestyle, and I also have divine in my life. That is not possible. I may have an idea that maybe what I am living with is a divine image, but you will see from time to time that you will be shown that it's only a concept of the divine that you are sticking to. So you have to kind of, completely give yourself without reserve. So without reserve means that I don't have any demands that, hey, divine, would you fulfill my wish? Then I'll be able to, offer myself to you. No demand at all. And that means that no reserve. I am not, it's not a conditional surrender that only if my life, if moves in this way, only then I'm ready to give myself to the divine, otherwise not. So it's a completely unconditional surrender. Plus, it is also a leap of faith, because I have no clue what is a divine life. And still I'm doing that. I have no clue that my life is going to maybe completely change. I may not have the same relationships. I may not have the same job, the same kind of ideas and thoughts and identities about myself. Even then, I am ready to surrender. So that requires courage. And as we discussed earlier also, courage is an aspect of divine. So surrendering is not for the weak. Surrendering is for those who are ready to kind of put their head down, cut their head by their own sword and put it down. It requires tremendous strength. This surrender is not for the weak. Yes. So further, Sri Aurobindo says that only when you are able to offer yourself to the divine, for them, the calm, the light, the power, the bliss, the freedom, the wideness, the heights of knowledge, and the seas of Ananda. So these are the byproducts of surrender. I think these are pretty lucrative. So Sri Aurobindo is saying, for them who are ready to surrender, offer themselves to the divine. For them, the calm, the light, the power, the bliss, the freedom, the wideness, the heights of knowledge, and the seas of Ananda. Now, if we are not attracted by this, I don't know what on earth can attract us, Further, taking up the next one from Sri Aurobindo, surrender is, yeah, okay, let's take up this question. So Nehal is asking, what does wideness mean here? Nehal, usually we are kind of, we are suffocated in four walls. We are suffocated of imagining ourselves as a limited person. These are my strengths, these are my weaknesses. I know I cannot go more than this. This is my room where I live. So we are not wide, we are limited. So when you are able to give yourself, offer yourself to the divine flow of life, then what happens? Then you become wide. It means you are ready to kind of leave those four walls of identities or images in which you were suffocating yourself, because that is not your true nature. Your true nature is Sat Chit Anand. And both Sat, Chit, and Anand, all of them are not limited in nature. So this is what wideness means. Wideness means that I'll be leaving the images and identities that I have about my previous self, and will be ready to challenge those limited images and ideas and thoughts about myself. Yeah. Is that clear, Nehal? Okay. So further, Sri Aurobindo says, surrender is giving oneself to the divine, to give everything one is or has. Now look at this. It may seem like a very little sentence, but it has a lot of material. It says, surrender is giving oneself to the divine, to give everything one is or has. So both my belongings, as in my relationships, my my family, my office, my job, I'll tell you how to actually practically go about it. It's not that you are going to a temple and offering it, not like that. And to give everything one is. Now who am I? At the moment, I am a limited self. At the moment, I have images about myself. At the moment, I feel that I am this and this and not that and that. So you see how I have separated myself. This whole limited individuality, what I am right now, is to be offered as an ahuti in the yagna of life, in the universal flow of life. That yes, for now, until now, I have been living a life in these limited concepts about myself and others. But now, because I am willing to walk on this path, I am offering everything to you as if burning it in the agni, in the fire within. That is surrender. So I am not sticking to any images about myself or others. I am not going to stick to any concepts about life or others. And there you give yourself, you offer yourself, you offer your thoughts, you offer your feelings, you offer your concepts, you offer your limited ideas. Yes, this is how we go about it. Now further, yeah, to give everything one is and one has to the divine and regard nothing as one's own. Now what a big heart that requires, to regard nothing as one's own. And if you look at our life is full of this is my own and this belongs to the other. To regard nothing as one's own, to obey only the divine will and no other, to live for the divine and not for the ego. Now here lies another beautiful gem, which is discrimination, which is uchit karm, which is saying no to all the aspects of the ego whenever they pop up in my life. For example, I may be having an argument or a discussion with a person, and I may see that it's my I may maybe take a pause for a moment in between or slow down in between, and I ask myself, is it really important for me to press hard on this point that I am standing for? Is it really important? Do I really want to prove that I am right and you are wrong? And this is how you leave the base of the ego or support, kind of the fuel that you have been giving the ego, you take back the fuel from the ego. So what you are doing now, when you are taking back the fuel from the ego, for which you have to be very observant and very, very vigilant, then you are surrendering to the divine will. Having said that, it does not mean that you will not be putting forward your points. But in putting forward your points, there will not be any aggression or force needed. Because you have so much of certitude in divine will that if the divine has to make it happen, now I have done my job. I have promoted this enough. I have done all the preparation required for this venture. I have done all, I am doing what all is needed. Now, if this venture is to crash, that's divine will. So there is no aggression or there is no attachment even to that venture which you feel is for the divine action, for the divine work. Wherever force comes, wherever this aggression comes, wherever you kind of feel uneasy that something is not right, there you have to look with sincerity like a microscope within you. What is it that I am sticking to? What is the limiting belief in my life? What is the past concept of my life that I am sticking to? And there, once you kind of pinpoint it out, you surrender again. So when you take out the fuel from the ego, you stop supporting the ego, you are acting in a right attitude, which is in the flow of surrender. Any questions at this point? Okay. Yeah. So you can also type in chat window your questions. Yes, Riddhi. Yeah. Well, I would like to know more about ego. Yes, we'll see more about ego as we go ahead. And in particular, if you have any question about ego, because if you have a particular question about ego, it will be nice if you can type and then we can see how we can take it. So whenever it comes or arises any question, you can just type it. Self-surrender is to give up yourself and all that is yours, mind and everything else, to the divine. Now, usually what is happening, I feel that this mind is mine, the thoughts are mine, the feelings are mine, and the body is mine. That is all is mine, right? Now, self-surrender or surrender means to give up the mind to the divine. Now, what does it mean? How do I give up my mind to the divine? How does it happen practically? Now, if you are very, very closely observant in your life, you would see that something or the other is sticking to your mind. Mind is a very sticky creature. You might be thinking of a person, you might be thinking of a job, you might be thinking of past, future, you might be thinking of a kid. Anything can come, a situation, a past situation. So mind is a sticky thing and it keeps on sticking to each and everything. Now, how do you turn the mind to the divine? Especially talking from the term of Sri Aurobindo and the mother, you remember the mother all the time. It's a golden key, and the key looks so simple. The appearance of the key is so simple that it's very easy that we neglect it. So be very careful. Those of us who are very serious to walk on this path, they have to be very careful, because the key, the golden key, is to remember the mother instead of all those past and future and thoughts and feelings and all these complications that we keep on reminding ourselves of. And the golden key to surrender is to remember the mother instead. So the mind is still addicted to remembering something, but now we are giving it a direction. Instead of remembering future, past worries, anxieties, I am turning the mind कि अच्छा अगर तुझे चिपकना ही है तो तू माँ को जाके चिपक जा. So surrender to the mother. Now this is how mind surrenders to the mother. The mind is now turned to the mother. So you remember the image of the mother, or maybe remember the mother just by the name or any kind of feeling that you have about the mother. Why the mother? Because mother is the life force that brings forth everything into action. So even if your mind has to go silent, even if the mind has to become a receptacle for the divine, mother does it for us. And this is the shortest possible key that Mother and Sri Aurobindo have given us. It's up to us whether to use this key, golden key, or not through on the way to surrender. So let me take this thing, the comment. Rupal is saying, if we want to walk the path of energy cultivation, like consciousness of psychic being, how do we surrender? You can answer later. Okay, I can answer it right now because I think it's very much in the flow. So if you look up into the texts of Sri Aurobindo and Mother, there is no difference if you are remembering the mother or you are remembering your psychic being. Mother has placed herself in the form of psychic being within each one of us, in the depths of our heart. So if I am following the depths of my heart, if I am connecting deeper and deeper, okay, let me wait for a moment and then I can begin if the voice is breaking. How is it for everyone else, the voice? Okay, okay. So I'm saying that it does not matter if I'm going deep within in my heart, horizontal level, traveling deep into my heart and touching the psychic being, or remembering the mother deeply in my heart. Both are same, because mother has kept a part of herself, a consciousness of herself in each and every one of us. So don't get confused that whether I should remember the psychic being or focus on the psychic being or remember the mother. One and the same thing. One and the same. So this is how you cultivate. So whenever your thoughts are making you berserk, when you are, whenever you are empty, you are doing a work, you have time, remember the mother deep in your heart, stay within, collected, and there you connect deeply with the mother or the psychic being, which is one and the same thing. How to go deep within to touch that part where the psychic being resides? Yes, so there are several ways, and as I've shared with you, some of you, a small meditation where you go deep horizontally, you travel deep inside your heart. Actually, it's very simple, but the problem with us is that mind wants complicated procedures. And the easiest key, again, I will repeat it. The easiest key is remember mother at your heart level. Imagine that the mother is present with you, living in you, answering you, responding to you in your heart all the time. This is how you go and touch that part. The problem with us is, it's not that you cannot go and touch that part, not at all. The problem with us is that our consciousness remains scattered. I am all over the place all the time. I'm thinking about this, that, shopping, those feelings, that feeling, past, future, worries, anxieties. This is the problem. It's not that you cannot go deep within and you cannot touch that part. It's a matter of a day that you touch that part. But if you are at it, so imagine that I have given you, so you have a golden door in front of you which you need to open, and there is a golden lock on that door, and you know that behind the golden door is the key to my life, is the light. So what I do is I give you a key, a golden colored key I give you. And what you do is you keep the key aside and you pick up all the twigs and sticks and stuff from the background, and you try to open the golden lock with those sticks and the twigs and leaves and everything. Now after a few days you ask me, I am not able to go that open that door that you suggested to open. So I said, I'll repeat it again. Did you use the key? The key is the mother. And it appears so simple that it's very, very easy for the mind which wants complicated things to keep it aside and not use it. I can guarantee all of you who are really going to take it seriously, I can guarantee that within a few hours or within a couple of days, if you are at your task, which is to be with the mother most of the time, you will see dramatic changes in your collectedness, in your being, in your inner poise, in the insights that you get, in the intuitions that you get, and also in a calmer mind and a calmer being. The only thing is that the mind will keep on popping again and again, and it would say, no, it appears so simple, it cannot be the mother. It cannot be the mother. And this is the catch. Because the marg is so simple and subtle that the mind cannot fathom it. So one has to keep the mind aside for some time. Let the mind pop up once in a while. It's okay. But don't forget to use the golden key, which is the mother. Remember the mother in your mind. Turn all your feelings to the mother. Turn the body to the mother. Even, in the body, you can begin to kind of cultivate this remembrance of the mother. And this is how you go towards this path of surrender. And I think this is the shortest possible route that has been given to us. Now, there are longer routes as well, but it is up to us at what kind of phase of life we are in, and how serious, how eager we are to kind of try this out for ourselves. Yes, so this is what I've meant by turning of thoughts and feelings and actions to the divine presence. So how do you turn thoughts to the divine? You remember the mother most of the time. In the sense, more and more you are working, you are always parallelly remembering the mother. Just like Kabir says, Sumiran ki sudh yon karo, jaise kami kaam, ek palak bisre nahi, निष्दिन आठों जाम. सुमिरन की सुध, रिमेम्बरेंस की सुध हमें ऐसी करनी चाहिए जैसे एक कामी, मीन्स अ पर्सन हु इज एडिक्टेड टू ऑल काइंड ऑफ, इट मे बी ड्रग्स, इट मे बी फिजिकल प्लेजर्स, एनीथिंग, इट कैन बी एनीथिंग, फूड. सुमिरन की सुध ऐसे करनी चाहिए जैसे कामी काम की सुध करता है. सो वी मस्ट बी एडिक्टेड टू रिमेम्बरेंस. सो द addictions that we have in life must be completely turned towards the divine. सुमिरन की सुध यूं करो जैसे कामी काम, एक पलक बिसरे नहीं, निष्दिन आठों जाम. अब होता क्या है, जब हम एडिक्टेड होते हैं तो एक बार का एडिक्शन खत्म होता है, एक बार की काइंड ऑफ तलब पूरी होती है, और उसके बाद हम क्या करते हैं, हम ये सोचने लग जाते हैं कि नेक्स्ट अब क्या करेंगे. ऐसे सुमिरन करना है कि आप रोक ही ना पाओ अपने आप को. Such kind of addiction. So addiction has to be turned to the divine. The addiction that I have in my present life towards the ego and its desires and attachments, all that addiction has to turn to the divine. This is how you remember. And again, using Kabir's metaphor on remembrance, जैसे कि वो जो नर्तकी होती है ना, जो नाच रही होती है ऊपर वाली रोप पे, दो पोल्स लगा रखे हैं, उसके बीच में रोप लगा रखी है, नीचे उसका हस्बैंड डुगडुगी बजा रहा है, और ऊपर वो रोप पे चल रही है, डांस भी कर रही है, रोप पे चल रही है. So Kabir uses this metaphor, Meera uses this metaphor, Mirabai, that remember the divine always like this. For example, when the lady is walking on that rope, not for a moment she can lose the awareness of the rope. The moment she loses the awareness, she slips. Although at the same time, when she is able to use that remembrance of the being on the rope and be careful on the rope, she's also doing a lot of movements with her hands and making, you know, all kind of expressions with her eyes. So the dance of the world is going on, but at the same time you are anchored deeply in the presence of the mother within, and that is how you get the flow of life. For those of us who have been wondering to have this flow in their life, this flow will come only after you take this leap of faith. Give yourself to the divine, not asking that, hey divine, you know, give me the flow, give me the flow. No, not like that. Hey divine, you know, I just want you now. And in the meantime, if you see insincerity creeping up, that hey divine, you know, I just need you now, and अंदर कोई आवाज आ रही है, नहीं नहीं थोड़ा सा वो भी चलेगा. You know, catch yourself, because that is how you catch your insincerities in surrender. Because there are so much of demands within us, there's so much of desires within us, they pop their head out anytime. And that is why the importance of sincerity in the life, in path of surrender. Any time, any moment, if you have been on the path of surrender, insincerity can creep in. And again, using Kabir's metaphor, he has said that जो साधक होता है, ट्रू साधक, वो अपने जब तक उसकी बॉडी में सांस चल रही है तब तक वो सतर्क रहता है. ये नहीं कि मान लिया कि भाई अब तो मैं साधु हो गया, अब तो बहुत सरेंडर हो गया, पिछले 20 साल से सरेंडर कर रहा हूं, अब मुझे कौन गिरा सकता है. माया इज महाठगनी. It can tug you anytime. So don't be so easy on yourself that, you know, now I am fully surrendered. Be very critical and sharp. You know, here today this demand arose in me. You know, now I offer it to the divine. Give it up in the flame of the divine. This is how we go about it. So again, as I said, furthering this, surrender means to consecrate everything in oneself to the divine. The one example that I used earlier, and I would like to share it with you. For example, you are doing simple things, the daily activities of life, having food, wearing clothes, you know, doing the jhadu pocha, maybe writing something, or taking a shower, brushing your teeth. Offer everything to the divine. Do as if a divine servant. How would I do this movement if I am getting prepared for the divine work? You know, that is how you offer your life to the divine. So I use this very often, that, you know, whenever you are taking a bath or eating food, imagine that servant of the divine is eating food or taking the bath. How would you treat yourself if you are this? You know, so you will see that there is a certain intimacy that you develop with yourself, and you begin to respect yourself even more, because now there is a big responsibility. You are the servant of the divine. Treat yourself well. You know, each and every little task that you are doing, offer it to the divine, and that is how you offer your life to the divine. And that also means that when the right opportunities are knocking at your door, then you take them. You know, we all have an inner feeling what is right and what is wrong, a very deep inner feeling. I am not talking of the right and wrong of the egos. I am talking that we know that yes, this work is good for my progress. Although I will keep on breaking, I will keep on shattering myself, my ego in between. But this work I know is very good for my progress. This way is good for my progress. So when the right opportunities knock at your door, don't say no to them, you know. Say yes to them. And no matter how hard it would be, the path will be shown to you. And when the opportunities are wrong, then again say no to them. So this is the right attitude. This is the uchit karm. And this can be known only when you are collected within, you are living in an inner being, inner poise within. only then you can listen to these feeble kind of, hints that divine gives us from within. Otherwise, there is too much noise in our life and we are not able to listen to those, feeble kind of hints that we get. Yeah. Further. Okay, great. So a very interesting thing that Sri Aurobindo has said here is that divine is not forceful. It will not say, "Hey, break your door, I want to come in." Now you have to live a surrendered life. Not at all. Divine is very, very gentle. He's a very kind of a gentlemanly being, if one can say. So what he does is he offers, he shows you, he suggests you, and that is why the voice is so feeble within. So he gives you a very mild suggestion, hey, this is how you can go about it. And then that voice may stay or may not come up again, but it's up to me how sensitive I am in listening to that voice. Because mostly the voice of the ego is very, very powerful. It's strong. It asserts itself. So what we do is, if we are used to live in an ordinary consciousness, in the outer consciousness of the ego, then what we do is we give all kinds of reasoning. No, it doesn't feel right, it doesn't feel feasible, it is completely illogical, this cannot happen. So we give all kinds of arguments against that feeble voice, and that feeble voice says, it's okay, I just suggested what I had to. Maybe you are not ready now to listen to me. So Sri Aurobindo says that each and every moment I have the free will to surrender. Each moment I have my internal freedom to surrender to the ego or to surrender to the divine. And that is why again that Kabir's metaphor comes again, where the sadhak says that मैं तो तब तक सतर्क रहूंगा जब तक मेरी बॉडी में सांस चल रही है. क्यों? क्योंकि in any moment your surrender can reverse. In any moment a very strong habit of an ego may arise and you would go by that habit, pushing surrender aside. So each and every moment you have to exercise this free will, so that yes, in this moment I want to live by surrender, not by the ego. In this moment I want to live by surrender, not by the ego. So each and every moment of your life becomes a full moment, becomes a divine moment. Nothing is escaping your eye. Look at the beauty now. What was appearing so gross, so mota, so crude in your life, now as if you have a kind of an electron microscope with which you are looking at your life. Usually I would measure my days in maybe, a week's, a week time has gone, a day's time has gone. Now I am measuring it in moment to moment. Pal pal ki khabar hai tumhe. So this is how you surrender. You become a microscope towards your life, and each and every moment you are ready to exercise free will in your life, whether I want to live it by surrender or I want to live it by ego. Because the divine does not force. It does not say that, I will now drive your life and you can relax. It can do that, obviously, but it needs our collaboration. What is the collaboration? Collaboration is each and every moment use your free will. Each and every moment. And look at, even if you are able to do it for a couple of hours, if I would say, to exaggerate, just look at the quality of the life, how it changes. It becomes so full and so rich that you stop waiting for the future now. You stop waiting to hear something from the past now. You have all the fullness in the present. The progress is happening in the present. The divine is present with you in the present. So there is no future that you are waiting for. Yes. Any questions at this? Or shall I go ahead? Thanks, Rupal, for the green signal. Okay. So, Sri Aurobindo and Mother, they are saying surrender cannot be made all at once. It is not so easy, for there is much in the being that resists. But one must have the will to surrender. तो अगर मैंने एक सेंट्रल सरेंडर कर दिया, अगर मैंने एक मन में एक ठान ली कि चाहे मेरे को कितना भी कष्ट भोगना पड़े, अब पाथ तो मेरा यही है, चाहे मेरे में कितनी भी अगलीनेस निकल के आए इस पाथ पे, मैं उसको फेस करूंगी, लेकिन पाथ मेरा यही है. So once a central will, central kind of a sankalp has been taken, then no one can stop you. As Kabir says, राम मिले थाने कौन हटके. अगर राम तुम्हें मिल गए हैं तो कोई तुम्हें रोक नहीं सकता, because you become that flow, universal flow of life. But once the central will is there, then it becomes easier. Okay, so if one has the will, this central will to surrender, what one does, one calls on the mother. So whenever you are facing difficult situations, not only in the difficult situations but in general also, because you have to exercise this muscle, of remembering the mother all the time. If one has the will and calls on the mother and opens oneself as much as possible to the mother, then gradually these things develop in the nature. It means surrender becomes a part of your nature. You cannot live a life which is an unsurrendered life now. Just like, for now, a surrendered life is appearing kind of an alien to me. I am wondering how to surrender, how to live a surrendered life. I have no idea how to do it. Just like that, once you have tasted surrender, then a life which is unsurrendered becomes alien to you. Such is the thing, So one has to get taste of it. And taste comes with exercising, practicing, and also with patience. As Kabir has said, धीरे धीरे रे मना, धीरे सब कुछ होए, माली सींचे 100 घड़ा, ऋतु आए फल होए. तो ऐसा नहीं है कि एक ही दिन में सारे मुझे रिजल्ट्स दिखने लग जाएं और मैं एकदम से फिर इम्पेशेंट हो जाऊं कि यार नहीं, ये तो चेंज ही नहीं हुआ, चलो छोड़ ही दो सरेंडर का पाथ. So that can happen, you may see some really strong kind of tendency from the past coming and overwhelming you, and instead of remembering the mother intensely, you say na humse na hoga bhaiya, and you say that okay, forget the mother, forget the golden key. So there Kabir comes to our rescue. He says, fellow, dheere dheere, have patience. So only when the season comes, the real kind of an opening or blossoming which is visible happens. Otherwise, things are happening, but they are not as visible as a blossoming. Just like a seed when it's kept in the darkness, in the mud. So for many days, you don't see anything outside. It does not mean that the seed is not developing inside. And one day it's kind of, it sprouts out. And there you see, oh, ab hua kuch, But it's not that pehle nahi ho raha tha kuch. Pehle bhi ho raha tha, dikh nahi raha tha. So don't trust your senses that much in these kind of things, in spiritual things, because we cannot understand spiritual things by just by kind of looking and understanding from this mind or the senses. They are beyond the mind and the senses. So that is why it boggles the mind up. The mind really says that, I can't handle it, because I don't understand what is going on. It appears highly illogical. And there are people who are able to keep their mind aside for some time. I think they can do really wonders with this. So one develops it as a habit. Yeah. A complete surrender is not possible in so short a time. For a complete surrender means to cut the knot of ego in each part of the being and offer it free and whole to the divine. The mind, the vital, the physical consciousness, and even each part of these in all its movements have one after the other to surrender separately, to give up their own way and to accept the way of the divine. अब हो क्या रहा है देखिए. So we are a huge machine and we have several parts. The parts are the mind and the intricacies of the mind. Other part is the emotions, the feelings, the passions, the desires, the vital. In Mother Zen Sri Aurobindo's term, it's called as vital, the vital being. So that is the passions and desires and attachments and feelings and emotions, everything. The physical consciousness is the body, the cells of the body, the habits of the body. So a complete surrender would mean that each and every part microscopically now has to be surrendered and offered to the divine. It takes a long, long, long time. So the patience or perseverance, perseverance is the key. Without perseverance, one cannot, go ahead like that. So one has to just keep at it, keep at it, keep at it, and you will begin to get a taste of this nectar, which is surrender, because only that is the kind of a glue that keeps you on the path. Because you need to have this rasa in surrender. If there is no rasa, you will say, see, I don't see anything happening, and it's better that I go by my old ways, and you go again back to your old life. So it's very important that we are able to touch the rasa in surrender. And those of us who have begun to walk on this path, they very well know what I mean by tasting the rasa. There is a joy in this progress. There is a joy in this kind of, letting go of your previous thresholds and crossing barriers. There is a joy in those overcoming those difficulties. And that is what I mean by the rasa of surrender. Now, those of you who will take up this path of, say, remembering the mother all the time, or are already on the path, they also can understand what I mean by the rasa, because there is a ras in divine presence within. Without ras, the existence will be not. So be sure that if you are near us at the moment, either you are on the verge of a leap of faith, or something needs correction in the way of the workings. Because Ras has to be there. If Ras is missing, then ego has somewhere popped in, you know. So there are 2-3 methods by which we can have rasa in life. Usually we try to rasa using the lower, kind of methods, like, maybe say going out shopping, and watching movies and these kind of things. Or some kind of rasas are from books, from words, or the ultimate rasa is the divine rasa. The presence of the divine gives you so much of bliss that you feel that, there is a contentment inside. There is a kind of a lack of restlessness inside. And that is very, very necessary, because that keeps you going. Otherwise, one can sway from the path. So let's take a little pause in between, and in the meantime, I'm ready to take up any questions which are popping up from your personal lives, from your personal experiences. Most welcome. Feel free to type in the chat window. Ordinary consciousness, ordinary vital is not willing to kind of surrender. Now, what does it mean? So, as Sri Aurobindo and Mother have said that there is a desire soul in us. Could you please mute yourself? I think someone is not on mute. Okay. So, ordinary vital is coming from the desire soul. So there is a part of us which is coming from the previous lives, from all the previous experiences that one has. And that part of us has a lot of desires and attachments and expectations. Now that part is seeking to complete those desires and attachments. That part is not ready to surrender, because it says, how can I surrender? No, I want my desires to be fulfilled. I want my attachments to be fulfilled. I want my expectations and demands to be fulfilled. How can I surrender? So there is a strong resistance from the vital, the emotional part, the desire soul part in us, which is not willing to easily surrender to the divine. Now, how to go about it? When you move deeply within yourself, as we were talking earlier, that when you move deeply in the depths of your heart and you touch the psychic presence within, now that the inmost vital, it is ready to surrender because it's a part of the divine. It has been seeking to surrender to the divine all its life. It was only the ego which was not letting it surrender. So, how to move about it? If we remain in the ordinary consciousness, if I remain in the ordinary way of the life, I can forget about surrendering. It will not happen. You cannot have the ego's way also and have a surrendered life. Both boats are not possible. What I do is I change the floor. I change the floor I am working from. Earlier, I have been working from a ordinary consciousness, the ordinary vital, which is full of demands, full of expectations from people, full of ideas how to fix life, how to fix persons and situations in life. This is how we do it. So Himanshu ji, you can mute yourself and also put off the video. Yeah. If you have any questions, you can type in the chat window. What we
Sure,
do
sure.
is, what we do is we move from the floor of the desire soul to the inner being. So again, referring to the my earlier statement, you join a different party now. Earlier you were in a party of ego, you were in the desire soul party. Now you are going to the fifth floor within your being, where a divine party is happening. Now when I look from this angle, there it appears, यार अभी तक सरेंडर किया क्यों नहीं है, तो इसके अलावा तो कोई चारा ही नहीं दिख रहा, इससे बढ़िया तो कोई राह ही नहीं दिख रही. This is the best possible option that I have. But only on fifth floor do you get this idea. In the ego mode, in the mode of ordinary consciousness, I do not get this idea that surrender is the way of life. So if, again, we can use it vice versa. If at the moment I am having this resistance in my life towards surrender, and if there is a willingness to surrender, what I do is I change the floor. I travel deeply in my depths, touch that part in me which says yes to surrender, and go by that. Listen to that part of the being. Yeah. So I'm taking a question. Should not surrender happen naturally? Even if we try, how will it happen if we are doing mechanical? Nehal, tell me one thing in your life which is happening naturally. For each and every task, Nehal, we have to put some effort. You have to brush your teeth, you have to put effort. You have to make food, you have to put effort. You have to sleep, you have to put effort to lie down. Which task, tell me, is in your life which is happening naturally? Is it not like flow of emotion? You think that flow of emotion is natural? Not at all. You are putting effort there, but the effort has become robotic now. So let's take up this question because I think it's very, very important. So from childhood or from previous life, I'm used to react or respond in a particular way to a particular situation. Okay. Now the habit becomes so conditioned, the habit becomes so kind of used to, that I feel that it is natural to me. Now, if you really look very, very closely, each and every moment you can choose whether I want to go by the old previous ways of my responding to this situation and go by that emotion, or do I remember the mother and not take that action which is coming from my old habits. Yeah. So what you do is you become microscopic in your movements. You cannot say that it is natural. Emotions are not natural. Maybe deep emotions, deeply felt emotions, yes, but rarely are we there. Rarely are we there. We are mostly stuck up in our old movements, our old patterns. So when you are saying that the flow of emotion is natural, no, it is not natural. I am just following a particular pattern in my life which I have been used to follow since being a child or since my previous life. And if you microscopically look closely, that see, in this moment when this person is saying something to me, do I have a choice? If you pause in between, you will see that you have a choice. You have a choice to give yourself up, to not prove yourself right, and let it go. That is just one possibility that I am stating. But usually we don't give ourselves a choice because the ego wants to assert itself. The ego says that my ways are right, and if something is not going according to my ways, there must be something wrong. Ego doesn't have a inherent faith in the divine. And that is why the separatist kind of identity, that I am something different and God is something different and he's doing things on to me, you know. So we are all emanations of the God. We are not separate from the God. For example, if I make something from the clay, and if there is a big bunch of clay, which I call as God, and if I make a matka out of that clay, is matka different from the clay? Matka is equivalent to the clay. The shape has changed, the form has changed, but there is no difference between matka and the clay. When the matka begins to say, I am the matka, I am the matka, I don't want to do anything with the, with the clay at all, there where, ego comes into picture. So when the matka sees that there is no difference between the clay and me, only the forms are appearing different, then there is no separation. So when you are saying that surrender should happen naturally, it will not happen naturally, I can guarantee you. Just like you put efforts in other tasks in your life, you will have to put effort here. Now, a willing surrender is very important, as Sri Aurobindo has said, that every time you are choosing, you are using your free will to surrender. Now, each and every moment, I will have to become more aware of my, yes, Mohit, super effort is required, very, very strong vigilance is required. Where is this movement coming from? Usually we are not aware of these movements of our being. So if I am very, very lazy, I will not be able to do surrender. Not at all. Surrender is active. It is not a passive that it will just happen one day, you get up from your bed and you are surrendered. Not at all. Not at all. That will just help you to continue with your old ways of being. So as Kabir has said, ek surma, warrior, only a warrior, Kabir's warrior, can surrender. People living in ordinary consciousness, me living in ordinary consciousness, I cannot surrender because I will just want to have my own ways. So only a warrior who is now ready to cut his head and find the divine. Ye Shakti chahiye, Nehal. So if we are feeling weak within, remember the mother, ask the mother to, have strength, so that more and more strength, and you are able to cut off your head. So the strength is required to cut off our own head. And one needs to be a warrior if one is asking for the strength to cut off one's own head. Look at the beauty. Look at this beauty, One is cutting off her own head and asking for strength. So there comes Kabir's Surma or Kabir's warrior. It is not for the weak. So Nehal is asking what kind of efforts to be made for this then. And I will repeat again, one needs to be very, very sincere in one's actions, one's thoughts, one's feelings. No action can be a kind of, no action should be veiled from your spy camera eyes. So usually हमारी eyes कहाँ लगी होती हैं? यूजुअली हमारी जो आईज होती हैं वो बाकी सारे जनों पे लगी रहती हैं, मैं इसका काम देख लूं अच्छा है कि नहीं, आज घर में क्या हुआ है वो देख लूं, यहाँ पे क्या हुआ है, उस बंदे ने क्या काम किया है, हमारा पूरा स्कैटर्ड रहता है. सो वी हैव अ कैमरा बट इट इज ऑलवेज लुकिंग आफ्टर अदर्स, कि उसने ऐसा किया है कि नहीं, has this person fixed himself or not. So the same camera has to go within, has to turn within, as if there is a rotating spy camera nowadays. It's very in vogue, these cameras. So there is a rotating camera and just the eye of the camera now goes within. बुरा जो देखन मैं चला, बुरा ना मिलिया कोई, जो दिल खोजा आपना, मुझसे बुरा ना कोई. Yes, Riddhi, you just need to observe yourself. We all need to observe ourselves very, very sincerely. Very, very sincerely. Yeah. Very sincere. How to spend time? Yes, yes, Riddhi. Yes. So we usually, we so easily give away to these habits where you one hour of a time you spend in front of a TV, maybe watching something which is pulling you down, and after 1 hour you feel kind of uneasy and maybe not centered. So just look at the past, what you did in the past 1 hour. So one needs to be very sincere how one is spending time. And mother says on this that if you even want to relax, then relax spending time in the divine presence within, so that it energizes you, it rejuvenates you. So the relaxation also has to be turned towards the divine. And whom are we meeting or talking to? Beautiful. Yes, that's very, very important. Each and every action has to be supervised. We need to disconnect from media and screen time. I think whatever you feel is necessary, Riddhi. So there is no do's and don'ts. But yes, if you feel that spending more time in the front of screen is pulling you down, then definitely yes. So just follow that inner guidance. You will know. You will easily know what is pulling you down and what is uplifting you. And no matter what you are doing, again remembering the mother and turning things to the divine, offering your works to the mother, offering the thoughts and feelings to the mother, that goes a long, long way. Yeah, Himanshi ji is saying very vigilant about one's thoughts and actions. Totally, totally. And it is not for the weak, because it requires a lot of self-observation, ruthless self-observation, if you want to walk on this path of surrender. Yeah. So yeah, Mohit has shared a story. Those of you who are here can maybe read it if you want to. Yeah. Maybe I can read it for all of you. Maybe I don't know if you are able to hear. The story of Milarepa is what Mohit is sharing. The Tibetan monk, he went to his teacher to learn, and the teacher just made him do useless things like making and breaking and rebuilding a tower. After months of work and repeated rejection by his guru, he felt he is not good enough to receive the teaching. He went to commit suicide, and that's when his guru called him back. The surrender was complete. Interesting, very interesting. Thank you for sharing. Yeah. So remember these things, first of all, looking at ourselves very, very microscopically, exercising the free will in each moment, and actively collaborating in surrender. No passive surrender is going to happen. So just forget about the idea that it will come naturally to you. Even nature puts a lot of effort when calamities happen, when winds happen. Don't think that nature is not putting effort. Nature is putting a lot of effort. The effort is invisible. It feels so like flowy, but it's a lot of effort, even in aspect of nature. Okay. Why don't you switch on your camera? Okay. Rituji, maybe next time or towards the end of the conversation, if you allow me, towards the end of the conversation, because now there is a flow and I don't want to kind of break it. Yeah. So further, Sri Aurobindo says that surrender and demands don't go together. So if I want to say that मेरा काम भी बनता रहे, मेरी पुरानी डिमांड्स एक्सपेक्टेशंस भी पूरी हो जाए, मेरा पुराना जॉब भी चलता रहे, सब कुछ पुराना पुराना चलता रहे और नया भी मिल जाए, वो ना होने वाला, वो बिल्कुल नहीं होगा. Forget about that, you know. So it's like, you know, I think I heard in a talk that divine gives us this exchange offer. You know, he says, give your old back and take a new person back. But we are so kind of fearful of giving the old person back because we have no idea what new we are going to get. And there comes the leap of faith, because for a short period of time you may not even know what is the new that is going to come into your life. But the beauty is that if you are joined with the divine presence, you will not need the feel to know, you will not feel the need to know that what new is coming. Just stating out of my personal experiences that once you have the feet of the divine, nothing more would you need to know. How life is going to move, in what direction is life going to move, from where the stuff is going to come. Everything will happen. You will have the insights, you will have the ideas. People will come and join you, you know, nothing will stop. But the only thing is to recognize, as all of you said, being very vigilant when these demands come up in surrender. That is what Sri Aurobindo is saying, that demands and surrender don't go together. If some demand is arising in you, look with a microscope and make it sure that it does not have its way. Stay close, connected to the feet of the divine. Very, very connected, as if that's the only thing that you want in life and nothing else. So, no new life you want in life, no new creation you want in life. You just want the feet of the divine. Stay with that, stay put with that. Let me take a few comments. Yes, I am not able to let go. So Nehal is saying that I am not able to let go. Yes, yes. Where do you start with what do I don't understand how to let go? Nehal, this I will never understand how to let go. Stay with me. This I, as Sri Aurobindo has said, which I just shared with you, the ordinary vital, the I, ego consciousness, it has no idea of surrender. So the I will never know how to let go. The thing that you have to do, the only thing that you have to do is have a surety that the divine is within you. More and more go closer deeply within. More and more go closer deeply within. Remember the mother. Don't forget the golden key. Remember the mother. Mother will do the surrender for you. Mother is on the 5th floor on which your psychic being is. There the divine party is happening. One, the thing that pulls you down or pulls us down is when we go back to the first floor again. There the demand and expectation party is happening. And then on that floor I ask how to surrender, how to surrender. I don't know how to surrender. On that floor surrender cannot happen. You will have to change the floor. Catch the floor of the mother. Go to the floor of the mother. Don't forget the mother. Mother will do the surrender for you. This small little thing, Nehal, it's very, very small, but the mind pops up in between. Mind says, oh, it's not happening, it's not happening. And you leave the mother. You run away from the mother. So, Nehal, or anybody else who is listening, one request to you, not to forget the golden key, the mother, the mother, the mother. You know, she takes you back to the 5th floor. Yeah. So that is how you surrender. You have to be on the 5th floor to surrender. You cannot surrender on the 1st floor. On the 1st floor, demand expectations will stay for a very, very long time. Forget about it that they will not appear, right? Yeah, okay, Nehal. So Rupal is saying, unless you let go of your old personality in all your current aspect of physical vital mind, you cannot surrender. Surrender has to be total with love. Rupal, I'll just add a few points. I am saying the old personality, let it be on the 1st floor. Don't bother about it that much. Don't give it attention. Let the demand and expectation play on the 1st floor. But the only thing you have to do is, you don't stay there. You go with the mother party on the 5th floor. there you know how surrender will happen. On the first floor, it will not happen, never happen, it has never happened. The only thing that can happen is that when you are on the fifth floor and the divine presence is immersing or kind of bathing you, then the light of that divine essence will be showered on the first floor. This is how you will surrender even the lower parts of your being. Forget that you will be able to change the old personality. What are the floors? The first floor and the fifth floor, Riddhi, at the moment. The floors are the floors of consciousness. One is ego consciousness and one is your own divine consciousness. These are the floors. Yeah. So Ritu is asking, are small things like wanting to listen to some music, meaningless music, or some comedy serial, or wanting to meet some specific people, are these a demand? Again, see what we do, Ritu, when we are absorbed in these kind of things what you are referring to, if you are able to turn those to the mother as well, see if you are able to. Okay, see if you next time sit in front of a comedy serial and you see it as an offering to the mother. See if it is possible. If you can go that way, then everything is fine. No act is a meaningless act or a meaningful act. If the mother is present in you, even a very, very stupid or foolish looking act can be a offering to the divine. So don't think that it is meaningless to listen to some music or watch some comedy serial. Not at all. It depends that if it is draining out your energy, you feel I should not be doing it, then say no to it. Simple. Say no to it. Thank you for sharing this 5 points program, Rupal. We'll go through it. Yeah. Later maybe. You got it? Yeah, the floors are the floors of ego consciousness and divine consciousness, which is parts of my own being. It's like I am a big castle, and within my own being, I can either act from ego consciousness or act from a divine consciousness. So surrender will not happen first at ego consciousness. Ego will put up resistances to surrender, and you can be sure when you are feeling a lot of resistance in your being, you are on the first floor. Be sure about that. So nothing needs to be done. Only thing is to be done is go deep within yourself, get in touch with the divine presence within, and there surrender will come back again. Yeah. So Preeti is saying, take one step at a time, check your actions and thoughts. If they make you a better person every day, pat yourself that night and sleep peacefully. Next day, don't slip again. Yes, each and every moment. Each and every moment. Yeah. Mother says that, you can celebrate even when you see that, I am today a little less stupid than what I was before. That is what mother says. So if through surrender I am acting a little less stupid than what I was before, I think that is some achievement. And again, offer that achievement to the mother, because even achievements can become a shoulders. So don't forget to offer your achievements. Okay. Yeah. Thanks for sharing, Mohit. I'm glad you resonated. So let's okay, Rupal is saying to start with be simple, be happy, be quiet, but it's not possible many a times, Rupal, to be simple, be happy, be quiet, although we all yearn for all these things. And that is why the need of surrender, because we all want to be simple, we all want to be happy, and we all want to be quiet, but it's not happening many a times. And there comes the need of surrender, because surrender has byproducts of simplicity, happiness, and quietness. These are the byproducts of surrender. Yeah, yeah. Surrender to the mother in with love. Yeah. So closing remarks, I'll be just sharing a few couple of dohas just to kind of, maybe connect with what Kabir has to say on samarpan and surrender and this remembrance of the divine, this kind of, a life lived in a surrendered mode, a life given to the divine. What kind of a life that is? Let's see in the words of Kabir. कबीर हरि भक्ति बिना धिक जीवन संसार, धुवन कासा धुरहरा बिनसत लागे ना बार। कबीर कह रहे हैं कि प्रभु की भक्ति के बिना इस संसार को, जीवन को धिक्कार है, धिक्कार। अब ये वही बंदा बता सकता है जिसने टच कर लिया है वो एसेंस, क्योंकि हमारे लिए ये धिक्कार नहीं है ना। हमारे लिए तो अभी सब बढ़िया है, बस मेरी डिमांड्स मीट हो जाए, मेरी एक्सपेक्टेशंस मीट हो जाए, बाकी सब तो बढ़िया ही चल रहा है। कबीर कह रहे हैं कि हरि भक्ति के बिना इस संसार को धिक्कार है। और कबीर इसलिए ये कह पा रहे हैं क्योंकि कबीर उस चीज को टच कर पा रहे हैं, उस नेक्टर को टच कर पा रहे हैं। और कबीर कह रहे हैं कि अगर मैं पी सकता हूं इस जन्म में, तो ये क्यों बेचारे रहे बिना पिए इसको। और उनको लग रहा है कि बाकियों का जीवन, मेरा पहले वाला जीवन जो बिना हरि भक्ति के बीता, वो तो धिक्कार है उस जीवन पे कि वो बीत कैसे गया। दैट काइंड ऑफ इंटेंसिटी। धुवन कासा धुरहरा बिनसत लागे ना बार। कह रहे हैं ये संसार वो धुआं है जिसका क्षण में नाश हो जाता है। So because all our demands and expectations are from this world, and this world is a temporary phase. The only thing which is very nice in Sri Aurobindo's and Mother's Integral Yoga is that they have not considered this this life as dhua. They say that this life is as important, but it becomes more important, and the intensity of the life only comes into picture when you live a surrendered life, when you live the life full of the divine presence. That is what Sri Aurobindo and Mother have said. So they don't say that leave the people, leave relationships. They say make them divine, make them more beautiful. So the more I stay with the divine presence within, the more I become contented in the divine presence within, the more I see that even my relationships are now becoming so fulfilling, because they are like a prasad. I am not demanding in those relationships. Whatever is coming is a prasad, because the best that I could have got is with me. And what is that? Presence of the mother. Just that. So there is no greed, there is no want for a new way of life. Mother's presence is enough. Mother will work through you if she has to. If she doesn't have to, then you enjoy mother's presence. That kind of a contentment. So further saying, कबीर हरि की भक्ति से संशय डारा धोए। तो कैसे मैंने अपना डाउट क्लियर किया, संशय कैसे भगाया? हरि की भक्ति से। सो पहले क्या आता है? पहले आती है गोल्डन की, कंफ्यूजन की क्लैरिटी बाद में आती है। अब हम ये सोचें कि पहले क्लैरिटी आ जाए और बाद में सरेंडर करेंगे, वो नहीं होगा। पहले आएगी मदर्स की प्रेजेंस, पहले मदर प्रेजेंस, डिवाइन प्रेजेंस आएगी, उससे कंफ्यूजन धुलेगा। और क्या कह रहे हैं आगे? भक्ति बिना जो दिन गया सो दिन साले मोए। कह रहे हैं कि एक दिन भी अगर मेरा रिमेम्बरेंस के बिना जाता है, वो दिन मेरा कष्ट से बीतता है। वो मेरा एक साल की तरह मेरे को लगता है, वो इतना पेन देता है वो। एंड अगेन दिस ओनली दैट being can realize, those of us can realize who have touched that remembrance, who know that how joyful, how beautiful it is to bathe in that remembrance. Only that person can say कि जिस दिन मैं हरि भक्ति में नहीं हूं, जिस मेरे काम अगर हरि भक्ति को समर्पित नहीं है, तो वो नाश की तरह है, वो राख की तरह है। that kind of an intensity towards surrender. या कामी क्रोधी लालची इनसे भक्ति ना हो, भक्त करे कोई सूरमा जाति वरण कुल खोए। तो यहाँ कह रहे हैं जो ऐसा बंदा जो अभी भी बाहरी चीजों से एडिक्टेड है, जो अभी कंप्लीटली डिवाइन से एडिक्ट नहीं हुआ है, एक ऐसा बंदा कामी, क्रोधी और लालची, ग्रीडी। सी कामी, क्रोधी और लालची all are referring to those states of our being when our consciousness is turned outside, when I leave the feet of the divine within and I turn outside कि मेरी मांग पूरी हो जाए बाहर से। मेरी डिमांड बाहर से पूरी हो जाए, तो मैं कामी हो जाती हूँ, क्रोधी हो जाती हूँ और लालची हो जाती हूँ. While what is my task? My task is to stay with the divine feet within. That is the maximum I need in my life. The maximum. I don't even, I am craving for a new way of life. Remember this. So those of you who may be kind of demanding कि मेरी नई life एक शुरू हो जाए, चलो surrender एक अच्छा तरीका है. You know, watch yourself. Again, that is greed. A servant of the divine is not greedy. He is saying, it's so nice, I am so blessed that I have the feet of the divine in my life. I don't want anything else. Whatever comes as a prasad and is taken. It's not said no कि मुझे नहीं चाहिए प्रसाद. तो प्रसाद कैसा भी होता है आप लेते हैं, चाहे वो प्रसाद ट्रेजेडी के रूप में आए, चाहे वो एक प्लेजेंट हैपनिंग के रूप में आए. That is how we live a surrendered life. Yeah, I think today we have talked enough. I think the last thing that I want to leave you with is खुसरो नदिया प्रेम की उल्टी वाकी धार, जो उभरा वो डूब गया, जो डूबा सो पार. सो खुसरो, अमीर खुसरो कह रहे हैं कि ये नदिया जो प्रेम की है, लव फॉर द डिवाइन, ये ऐसी नदिया है कि इसकी धार उल्टी है, इसका तरीका थोड़ा उल्टा है. जो इसमें पूरी तरह इमर्स हो जाता है, इफ द ईगो डिसॉल्व्स एंड लूजेस इटसेल्फ इन द डिवाइन, वो ही पार लगता है. जिसको कुछ नहीं बचाना अब अपनी लाइफ में, जिसको सिर्फ डिवाइन प्रेजेंस से मतलब है और किसी से कोई मतलब नहीं है, और जो डूब गया सो पार. या दैट्स इट from my side. If you have any concluding remarks, I'll just be, let me put this document here. I'll be sharing this document with you. Those of us who want to go through it can maybe, you know, have a look. Yeah, feel maybe you can type in the chat window any concluding remarks or anything. Thank you Mohit ji for attending. Yes, thank you Nehal for joining in. So those of us who have joined for the first time, if you want us to keep you updated for the new sessions, feel free to type your number if you haven't given me already in the chat window, so that I can add you in the group. Thank you Mandeep ji for joining. Thank you Rupal ji. Yeah. Yes, Taru. So Taru is saying, one thing I want to share about with these other activities, in addition to seeing if it's draining, like you said, the other thing is to ask yourself, what are these things actually giving me? I think it's very important. How and what are they adding on to me? So Taru is referring to that question you earlier asked, that if I am listening to a comedy serial or a music, you know, so Taru is suggesting that you can ask yourself whether these things are actually giving you anything, you know, whether they are adding any value in your life, in keeping you centered or the path that you have chosen to help. Yes, thank you Taru for sharing. Yeah, Rupal ji, thank you for sharing your number. We can add you on the group. Yeah, thank you Ridhi for joining. Nehal, I love your questions. So Nehal is saying, but what if such draining things are important? Responsible, I'm not sure if I understood it. You can't avoid them. You can always avoid them, Nehal. See in yourself what is wanting not to avoid them. That is what sincerity is. No one can pull you where you don't want to go, you know. Yeah, thank you Riddhi ji, thank you Himanshi ji, thank you Aradhana, thank you. Yeah. So Nehal, be very, very sincere and vigilant that these draining things which you call as important, if you feel that it is important, then you will be attending those, and they will be doing what they will be doing to your consciousness. You cannot help it. So just be very responsible and care for yourself where all you spend time and energy and effort, you know. Yeah. Thank you, Preeti, for joining. Thank you.
Thank you, Monica. I'm just gonna
Thank
have to
you.
leave. Thank you very
Yeah.
much.
Thank
Great
you.
set.
Very
I will
thank
message you. I have a long comment to message. I'll message you. uh,
sorry. Once again.
I have a long comment I wanted to message, but I'll take time to
Okay.
type that. So I'll
Yeah.
message you.
Sure. Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. We can
Thank you.
connect. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Everyone. Thank you for sharing. Thank
Thanks.
you. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye. Bye.